43rd Ward, which is Lincoln Park. And I'm also president of the North Side Republican Party. What we've done in Chicago is we've taken all the 50 wards and put them into different clubs. North Side is 12 wards, Northwest Side is 5 wards, and so on. We have a Southwest, a West, a South Side. So that's how we're organizing the city. We had a meeting last week, the Chicago Republican Party committeeman and other interested people. It was the largest Republican meeting I've ever been to. D-Ray was there. We also, in the recent primary filing, filed with 37 ward committeemen. We've never had 37 ward committeemen in Chicago. We maybe had 20 or something like that. Mostly North Side, Northwest, Southwest, but the rest of the wards were covered. We also have another 7 or 8 in our pocket that we're going to appoint right after the primary. So we're going to be north of 40, and within a few months, hopefully, we have a complete slate of committeemen. That has never happened before in Chicago. We're building an army of people and volunteers. Jeff Fiedler is with us today. He's the executive director of the Chicago Republican Party. We also have Paul McKinley, who is going to be our 4th ward.
That's right, Paul.
Paul, right? And then Cornell Dart is on our finance committee. I'm finance chair as well. So it's here for Cornell.
All right, Cornell.
So we're building a team of people, obviously, to get out the vote. We know what our vote totals were. We know where they need to go. We're going to see what kind of change we can make over this election cycle. It's all about getting votes and putting pressure on them to do the right thing. I love everything that I'm hearing here, but we need a team in Chicago, which we have not had. 2 years ago, we began this from a standing start. There was virtually nothing here. So we're proud at least we're at this level. It's going to take some time. But we've got literally about 500 volunteers that we can call on now when we want to have rallies. Tim, everybody know Tim Ball from the SEIU, number 73. He's a union organizer, but he's a Republican. He's with us. And there's a lot of Republican members in the unions. They call themselves the second strongest union in the state. The CTU, of course, being the strongest. So, but they're going to be bringing people to us as well. Union members that don't believe in what the union leadership is pushing for, and also people that see the same things you mentioned, and Paul, and the same things you mentioned, and everybody here. They're destroying our state. They're making a mockery out of democracy. We need to take our state back. No statewide candidate has ever lost statewide if they got more than 20% of the vote out of Chicago. We need to concentrate on that. Biden's numbers have collapsed. He's lost 25% support in the black community since his inauguration.
Black Chicago for Trump, baby.
Black Chicago, you got it. So things are changing. I just want to tell everybody where we are. They say, is there a Chicago GOP? It's a joke. It's a joke. It's not a joke. It is true. We really have a team. We're building it. So we're here if you guys need us. And we're building on the south and west sides now stronger now than the north and northwest side. So anyway, that's it. Welcome to Chicago.
So I would like to say on this MLK Day that first and foremost, Dr. King was a Republican. Let's open up with that first and foremost. Dr. King was a Republican. We're dealing with some serious issues here. And I know with y'all coming from different parts of the state, even when I'm talking to people all over the country, they see things such as violence and unemployment and all these terrible situations. First thing comes to mind is that, what's wrong with the people? But then we go back to say to you, there's nothing wrong with the people. There's something wrong with the leadership here. And this leadership has written Americans off in exchange for the illegal immigrant population. Now, if you're going to have these holistic programs and plans for those who are walking across the border yesterday, and you take care of them the day they walk in, then it should be afforded to American citizens as well. Do you all agree?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So when we look at programs such as the Chicago New Americans plan, the overall strategy, the Office of New Americans, which is a nationwide initiative birthed out of Barack Obama's White House. Rahm Emanuel, after leaving Washington, D.C., quietly came back to Chicago, became mayor, and had a secret meeting with all immigrant groups such as UNO, the Asian American Association, African International House, the Chinese American Service League, and you can go on and on and on and on. All these immigrant groups, we had a meeting with them. The Jewish Federation, everybody, they all had a meeting. And in that meeting, the agreement was made that they would join forces and all these resources would be given to these new people who walk into the country. And again, we say that if you're going to have these type of meetings for the newcomers, which you saying, you outright telling us that you eliminate us by starting a circle called the Office of New Americans. What is that saying to us? What does that say to us who have been here? You telling us you're getting rid of us. That's the only way, and that's the way that we take it. And so we're not going to stand idly by while you give all resources. While American veterans are laying on the side of the expressway, under bridges, sleeping out of abandoned cars. And so for us in Black Chicago, we've come to the conclusion that it's time that we go red. It's no back and forth conversation. We've lived long enough under this tyranny. 76 years to be exact. That our community's been giving 80 to 90% of our vote to this Democrat Party. Unemployment, poverty, and every other bad has been at an all-time high for as long as the Democratic Party has been in power in this city. And so it's organizing time for us. It's moving forward time for us. And what we mean by that is we hit the streets to not only register people to vote, hundreds of thousands leading into this general election, but during the slating process, we want to fill every position that there's no Republican opposition.
We have 20, right? State reps we still need to fill.
Whatever
Reps
positions
20?
are open, if it's congressmen, committeemen,
Yeah.
state reps, state senators, whatever,
Yeah.
commissioners,
Yep.
we want to put an alternative to this Democratic Party in the race. And we make no apologies for what we do. And we owe no explanation to no elected official. They've had long enough to do the right thing, and it's time that we go red. And if nothing else, we need to create balance. There's no balance.
Yep.
The governor, Democrat. Lieutenant governor, Democrat.
Well, 1994, all the state constitutional officers were red.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just all flipped. It can be there again, right? I've seen it.
No
You've
matter-
seen it. It's,
Whichever way possible,
It
whichever
can.
way,
Yeah.
there needs to be balance. There's no balance. And because there's no balance from the governor's office down to the mayor's office, down to the committeemen, then they feel that they don't have to talk to us. They feel that they don't have to do anything for us.
What about the Black Caucus? Not a one.
Carcass, the dead body of people.
You done paid the dues.
Carcass, the black carcass.
Carcass.
We tired
That's a
of all
good
of
one.
this.
That's a good one.
We've talked to them over and over again. Maybe a few of them, we've been able to have conversations and get a little bit done. But for the overall, the vast majority of them, they feel as though that we shouldn't even question them. And since you don't think that we have anything to say, you don't want to answer any of our questions, then we're going to go in a different direction from you. And what you all don't know is that when it comes from us at the grassroots level, we are the majority.
Yeah.
And what's happened is that, especially from the grassroots community, we just say, well, hey, look, we're not going to be involved. But that's going to change. By the time spring hit, it's going to be like that Arab Spring that y'all saw.
Well, see,
So
Mark, they didn't know. They don't know. I've been saying this for years. They didn't know that there is a grassroots level in Chicago.
Oh, yes.
I've been talking to y'all for years.
And that don't take marching orders from the far-off Democratic Party. When Mayor Daley was in office, we were the group as young activists then. Myself, Paul, we were protesting that day. Look, going against the political system here in Chicago, I've been arrested almost 200 times. We're doing the right thing, asking for resources to be included. They will put the police on us after they zone and permit projects in our communities. The deals that these elected officials will make for whatever contributions that they get on the back end They would put the police on us. And because we pushed so hard, they would call, I mean, it became part of my norm.
They took your social media down. 1 million and something
Everything.
people.
I mean, whatever way possible that they can do it, but we're not gonna stop. We didn't stop during daily years. So I think as we got older, we got a little more wiser. So I mean, I literally came into politics at 25, and now 25 years later, we still fighting the same fight.
It's time for you.
It's time for something new, and we're gonna usher it in. This is just the beginning. So we all want to unite as American citizens against this uprising and invasion, because this is an invasion that's happening in this country. There's no other way to put it. When you look at California, New York, Florida, Minnesota, these places have been invaded and taken over. This is going to happen all over the country. Chicago has always been what they call a city of neighborhoods. But now you want our neighborhood? You want all the neighborhoods? No, it's not going to happen like that. We never tried to go over in Chinatown and take over Chinatown, Greektown, Little Italy. And so, hell no, will we sit back while you give our communities over to any other group. They created this. The Irish mob boss Mayor Daley created the city of neighborhoods. And this is the way it's going to stay. We will not compromise. And we ask that you all help us across the country, but it's not just here. We've been talking to people all across the country who want to turn America red. We just started out saying Chicago, and being on social media, Facebook, Live, Twitter Spaces, Clubhouse, we found out that people all across the country feel the same way we feel. And when you take a leading city like Chicago and start pushing, then everybody else going to push. This is our chance to keep America first. Because this immigrant agenda is going to sweep the country.
It has swept the country.
Man, but we said even on a larger scale, I mean, what you saw happen in places in California is going to happen all over the country. America has always welcomed other groups, but we're not welcoming groups, and we don't owe it to them to welcome these other groups to come in and give them our seats, to give them our beds, to give them our opportunities. We don't owe it. We don't owe that to anybody as Americans.
Can I just say something? Remember, the only group of immigrants was MLK. The only group of immigrants who didn't come in willingly were enslaved Africans. Mm-hmm. And the 14th Amendment, we fought a civil war. We had to pass 3 amendments in the 1860s. We had to confirm them again in the 1960s. And they're just blowing a hole through that. Totally disrespectful to the Constitution and the 14th Amendment in our nation's history. And as a resident of the district where Ilhan Omar is now, I grew up in that district. They used to be represented by, German, Swedish, Norwegian, Jews, that demographic. Now it's Somalis because of that. What Clinton did, bringing in all those Somalis in Minneapolis. So I know that district. I grew up there, and those people would be rolling in their graves, knowing that this woman is representing the district where all these Jews and Scandinavians and German Protestants got along so well in harmony. And I grew up in that environment. And that's what they've done.
And that's why I say, Chicago has always been this city of neighborhoods. And now you want to eliminate not just Black Americans. It's an elimination of all Americans. Even you see pushback coming from some of the parts of the Hispanic community. These people are saying that we've been waiting for years. Oh yeah. Now, how is it that these groups are able to walk in? Look, when it comes to Nicaragua, what is that? Nicaragua, Venezuela, it's about 4 or 5 different countries, y'all. Joe Biden said that even though these people broke the law, walked into the country, that he would give them humanitarian parole. What does that mean? That means that they walked in, broke the law, walked in, don't have to go to court, and if they work for a period of time, then he would give them citizenship. They can become police officers.
Carry guns.
Carry guns. What part of Do we not see what we're about to deal with? Now, let me say this one last thing. I'm gonna say this one last thing. Because in the midst of these conversations, the word reparations always comes up, right? Now listen to this. With the amount of money that America has given to the illegal immigrant population, you could have made the descendants of slavery whole. But the money is being, not just those resources, but when you look at the Freedmen's Bureau. Anybody know about the Freedmen's Bureau?
Yes.
The Freedmen's Bureau was where the citizens of slavery were able to open their own banks and things like that. Started businesses. You heard of Tulsa and all those places. That came off the backs of accessing that Freedmen's Bureau. Do you all know that the Office of New Americans is nothing but the Freedmen's Bureau?
That's right.
And so all those resources that would have gone into making the previous group whole are now being steered and geared towards what they call it DEI, people of color. All this old crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying? Look, we not people of color, we not black and brown, you know what I mean? Hey, to each his own, everybody has to stand for their people, Chicago, the city, neighborhoods. So don't tell us in All Lives Matter our issues when we have to deal with unemployment, poverty, and crime, and all those things, and never been given those resources that we need in order to stabilize communities. And so I just wanted to say that to us as we move forward, because an awakening has happened and a new tomorrow is coming. And we're in that tomorrow today.
What are the representatives in your communities saying to your folks about
I was told by my state rep that I'm not gonna say his name because these are my people. However, I was told that they don't push back on these things because they don't want to get primaried. And what I explained to my state rep is that we voted for you, not the Democrat platform. So whatever, if you go represent us, we're going to put you back. But if you are more afraid of Madigan than you are of our votes, then we're going to be in a constant limbo. But also, in 2016, I left the country. I went to political exile to protest Obama, Rahm, and Alderman Jason Irving. When I repatriated to the United States, I got caught at border control at O'Hare Airport. So I had my 5-year-old with me. She had on we moved to Africa, so she had on the African outfit. I had on American clothes. I handed my passports to the passport guy, to customs. He said, you guys don't look alike, you don't match, you get to go to the back. So I got to go to the back where they deport people. So I'm in the back. And I'm like going crazy at this point, right? Because I'm not supposed to be back here. And the Chicago Police Department came and they heard my accent. They said, why are you back here? I said, why am I back here? That's what I want to know. You know, I was on a 9-hour flight. This is not making sense. They're like, ma'am, we're so sorry. Americans are not supposed to be back here, so on and so forth. I got stopped at the border in my city as an 8th generation American traveling with a 9th generation American. So if we can get stopped at the border, they need to get stopped at the border. These people are flying into O'Hare Airport with no documents, nothing whatsoever on the American taxpayer's dime. But as Americans, if we were to go through O'Hare Airport, you gotta have everything, right? You gotta take your shoes off, you gotta have your passport, have your birth certificate, 2 drops of blood, whatever. But they are creating a separate class for these people. And that's the discrimination in it, because they have not invested into anything. They don't even have social security numbers. But because Nicaragua is open, it's not just Venezuelans coming here, and I want you all to know this as well. I met a Senegalese man who told me that Nicaragua is open. Anybody who can get to Nicaragua, their visa is $100. You can go to Nicaragua, and then they connect you with members of the cartel and the caravan. Depending on how you want to travel, you can, do a bus, tent, or you can do buses and hotels. So it could be $7,000 to $12,000. Every single person who's here illegally right now, these migrants, they all paid for this experience. They all had at least $7,000 to get them here. So we're not dealing with poverty. We're not dealing with people who are running from things. We're dealing with people from all over the planet, because Nicaragua has put it out there that we're open, and if you want to come to the United States, we have the infrastructure to deal with this. So as you guys go to the State House, I don't know how you're able to utilize the federal government, but we have to address Nicaragua issue because that Nicaraguan open border is directly affecting us in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, come have a seat.
Hey.
Right here. It's your seat. I'll save it just for you. I did.
Christine, did you want to say something? I'm Christine. I think I'm the only candidate that's here. I'm running in the 36th. I've been out there in all the neighborhoods talking to the people, and I can say that the black vote has definitely changed. What we need to change is the white liberal vote, because they are so far left in their ideology and what they think that we have to make up for something, and what the schools are pushing on. There's a whole nother concept of that. So what you guys have to understand is that in CPS, Yaila and I used to work for CPS. There was a grandma. We were at one town hall in the 21st ward, and that's when they were going to do a big tent city on 115th and Hillside. And I met a grandma, and her grandson has autism, and he was denied his seat so that an immigrant can come. Some of our teacher friends, a lot of the students are denied their one-on-one specialty that they've been trying to get for months and sometimes years for our American kids. They don't have the resources, so the CTU is prioritizing immigrant children over our American children. But some of the things, like I used to live in Chicago, now I'm in Oak Lawn. We just had a village meeting because buses were starting to go through, and they did pass an ordinance, that they need a permit, but that's not enough. We need to somehow coordinate within these towns, within these mayors, to say how we can make this a city, a non-sanctuary city, and use the home rule. We can only do that with the home rule. So maybe if you guys can help me, I can present it to the mayors. And again, there are a lot of good candidates out there that are working very hard, and the only way we're going to get change is if you guys help them. So I could use all the help. But anyway, I was running against Kelly Burke, but she's not running now. So now they have 2 Democrats in there, and then Political just came out and said that it's going to be the most contested, evil race, negative race in the whole state. So I'm looking forward to watching what they do with each other, and then I'll step up.
As the director, I know that we all agree that we want to say thank you. Thank you for having us up here in your city. Thank you for letting us hear your voices. And I promise you we're going to carry it back to your capital next week. So,
Thank you.
If anybody else wants to from the caucus, we got a 5-hour drive ahead of us here in not too long. So we're happy to be here, and anybody else wants to jump in and say our comments from the caucus.
So, State Rep for 115th, I'm about an hour south of St. Louis. Love Chicago. I went to school up here, worked down here for several years before my wife and I went back where I grew up. So I love Chicago. I really love it. And I want to see Chicago thrive. I know some people downstate that say, Chicago, screw them. I'm not like that, and I know we're not. How Chicago goes, so goes the state of Illinois. I know that. I appreciate that, and I will do what I can to fight for that.
Yeah, thank you guys. We appreciate your hospitality. It's certainly been interesting. I'm Blaine Willard. I'm the state representative from the 110th district, which is kind of south central Illinois. I'm about 80 miles to the east of St. Louis there, but we fight in the General Assembly to bring opportunity to communities that have been deprived of opportunity, mostly because of bad policies this push in Springfield. It's not unique to your communities in the city of Chicago. We see a lot of parallels in rural Illinois. Bad policy, bad leadership, corruption has driven out opportunity. And when opportunity is driven out, you get all the bad stuff. You get the crime, you get the hopelessness, addiction, helplessness, that kind of stuff. So we push really, really hard for that up there. You know, it's disappointing a lot of times when I see, you know, the supposed leaders of your communities in the General Assembly that have just been co-opted. They've been completely co-opted. You hit the nail on the head when you talked about the white liberals. They are running things there, and they're way, way crazier than anybody from the city has ever
They're the
been.
worst.
But they own these. You know, your folks are being owned by these people. So, you know, anything that we can do to stand up and combat that, to help you folks do that, we're game. Because,
You know, it's time that we turn it on its head.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I say to people all the time, you know, why would the Republican Party pay attention to anything that a black Chicago is saying? Well, Chicago in general, when 80 to 90% has been given to a party that did nothing for you, and then we have been told to pay attention to you all. There are no Republicans in power in Chicago, so you don't tell me about a Republican
Not
when
yet.
this city is
Democrats.
been run by Democrats
We don't know.
for the last 76 years,
We
right?
don't know that.
No. Actually, Chicago has been Democrat for 96 years. But black people have been voting Democrat for 76 straight years. 80 to 90% to a party that does absolutely nothing for our people. Now, she can't sing a shine for his name, and he's a friend of mine. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't hold him accountable. And like I said to him, you go down there and you vote with the governor, we're going to protest your ass too. And this is a close friend of mine, right? But the business of the people is more important than our personal relationship. And so, if y'all pushing against this governor on these measures where he wants to give all these resources, they're practically giving reparations to these illegal immigrants
Criminals.
that broke the law, and these people are saying it. Well, America destabilized our countries and everything that we getting, they're supposed to give it to us. We saying, don't hold us accountable for whatever the way you feel, because we're not gonna go along with it. We're not gonna play this game with you where you come here and you push us out like you did in California. It's not gonna happen. We're not, whoever told you that, we're a different group, and we're the masses. And they're about to see the masses. But any measures that come up in Springfield, y'all can muster up the votes. Please go against it, and we will be behind you up here. We're gonna pressure these elected officials. The governor, just going down there and became this fascist dictator. That's how he operates. He feels as though he don't have to listen to anybody. But he gonna look up and we're gonna be in front of his house. Protesting and barbecuing in front of his house in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Stay
With our
tuned.
Trump flags.
Stay with the Trump flag.
I will say, you guys do go viral. This is you, Mark Carter. This is all you. This gentleman has appeared in City Hall. This is
our
literally
51st
Yes.
TikTok. You guys are, I can't tell you, over 2 million. That's just the minimum. So you do have the power to
This is
take
just
it
the
to the
beginning.
news, and you have Fox News with you. So you do have the power as the grassroots. And as you said, 80-something years. Listen, my whole family worked for the Daily Machine. The holders here in Chicago on the South Side.
Why do you work for me then?
I'll call them
I
out.
gotta change that.
Right? And they were loyal as could be. But now some of them are seeing it. My cousins are fleeing this city so fast it's crazy. I don't have too many left on the South Side. Not because of the neighborhoods or their neighbors and stuff, but exactly what you said and what's going on. And as far as reparations, you nailed it. They're getting reparations for what adults have been told for years. There is no reparations.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you guys so much for being so forthright, so honest, and so truthful.
So I have a question. What can you all do to help us? We've told you our issues. How can you assist?
Like just being a voice for you. Obviously we're super minority. We can't even get a bill home. But we can advocate for you, try to make the news, raise awareness.
No balance, period. Huh? The House, the Senate, the governor's mansion, the lieutenant governor, the Cook County Board president,
But
the
that's
mayor.
because everyone voted them folks in.
But it's time for change.
Well, that's what was presented to us, and thank you for bringing that up. So there, I'm gonna give you guys a story. I talk about this all the time on my show, and I'm not sure if you're aware.
What night is your show?
Sundays at 5 p.m. on WVON 1690 AM, live on the Black Excellence Hours page and on the iHeartRadio app. With all of that being said, thank you. I'm gonna give y'all a story. So the city treasurer of the city of Chicago, that city treasurer, and her husband, who's an alderman and the chair of the budget committee, they decided that they were going to go to some senior citizen buildings and his board. They went and they got a worker from the treasurer's office. They told her, you take a vacation day, come with us. They go to the senior citizen building, so all the seniors come down to the lobby, okay? So they're on their walkers, their scooters, elevators, you know the chaos that that caused. When they got down there were these boxes of hams. They told the seniors in their homes, if you sign right here, this is just you signing so that we have a record of who received the ham. Well, friends, this was not just a sheet of paper. This was a petition for the chief of staff for the treasurer and the chief of staff for the alderman. These elderly people were disenfranchised for a ham by the city treasurer and her husband, who's an alderman, right?
But
so
of course they know him. Conyers Urban.
Yes.
She was a state rep, so.
So and she knows better, right? So they all know better.
Yeah,
so when we talk about Chicago and our voting and what we're doing, know that we're under an umbrella of grand scale disenfranchisement, right? These are the people that are being presented to us. Even with Brandon Johnson, Brandon won 0 black wards in the primary. 0. Black people did not put him here. However, when we have these national conversations, then it's like, oh, you guys chose Brandon. No, we didn't, but we weren't going to choose Paul Vallis, right? If you have a kindergarten, 6th grade, 8th grade, or high school diploma signed by Paul Vallis, you were not going to vote for Paul Vallis, right? He has a brand here in the Chicago Public Schools. So you put Brandon against Paul, Brandon is the winner, and then that gets put on the shoulders of Black Chicago as if we wanted this. We did not want this, guys. Again, this is a game that they're playing in the Board of Elections. So grant us a little grace. Please grant us a little grace. We are fighting as hard as we can. I keep on talking about this ham story because that's a federal crime, right? Something has to be done about that. And I think that if we started focusing on the level of disenfranchisement that happens here in Chicago, specifically in Black Chicago, we would have a different type of policies, different policies rolling out. So please, please, please grant us grace as we move to the right. Please tell everybody, stop telling Black Chicago this is what you get. Elections have decisions. Aha, there it is. No,
that's
it doesn't
because
make people.
they don't know. Because they put the blame on Black Chicago.
Voila.
I mean, we even hear out there, if you don't get Black Chicago, you won't win any races when it's statewide.
Right.
And they're never going to vote. Now, I know you guys don't hear of some of the policies coming in. So maybe we can help out by letting you guys know this bill's coming down the pipe. This thing is coming over. Because even with your radio show, Ray, it's like clawing, scratching, and fighting to get the news to the people who listen. Who doesn't listen to VON? I know I do. I'm driving home. It's just historically our station. When I grew up here.
We really kind of gotta let the guys lead.
Yeah.
They did a long road. I want to just thank everybody for coming. And hopefully this is the first of many conversations. And hopefully the next one takes place in Springfield. And we can invite LaShawn and Camille Lilly and Mary Flowers and
Lakeisha
Collins and all of them. Right? Okay, great.
You can retire most of them, so we don't have to.
Oh, thanks so much. So thank you, especially Mark Carter. We really appreciate your expertise and everything that you do.
Yeah.
I gotta hear that story.
We were just supposed to answer.
I gotta hear that story.
Live on cutting.
Anyway.
one quick comment, very quick comment. Do you think because we're so torn with the sanctuary city that you guys can approach it like with talking about the Trust Act instead and educate people what the Trust Act was and how it started and get that, and then we can go forward with that? Because people are so black and white with the sanctuary, and I think if we educate what the Trust Act is and where it originated from and what it stood for and how it's not African now, that might be.
No, it's
Okay, I'll text you now.
It's just hard to get balance.
Stop the cone in the middle.
But you're right.
Or if you could put a video up, we can share it. To educate people. But I'm mostly voting against it. How are you?
Good. I see you. Live Uncut Unedited, people. You done? All right, people. So what's your name, youngest man?
Mark Carter, Chicago activist, and the founder of the Blacks in Chicago on Red.
Good.
And we want y'all to join. Everybody, join this movement. We're going to turn Chicago red. We know that we're not going to get shit from this movement. And anybody that think that it's going to change, then tell us how it's going to change. Tell us in the comments. Tell us if you can see anytime soon things change. Tell us what you have received from times that you voted Democrat. What have you got in response to your vote for Democrats? Multiple years. Especially the older ones. For the last 5, 10, 15 elections, what have you gotten that would make you go along with the Democrat Party even further and not do what we're doing, which is flip Chicago red? And that doesn't mean that we flip Chicago red to vote for them. That means we flip Chicago red to vote for our candidates that we run. We can sit at the table and disagree with other Republicans, but keep going with the Democrat Party for nothing in return. My mother couldn't tell me to keep going. And I'm trying to convince her that she shouldn't do it no more. Stop voting for us right now. They're not on the team with us. That's that simple. We get nothing from the Democrat Party. Look at all the indicators. Jobs, contracts, housing, education resources. Look at the unemployment, poverty, crime. It's at an all-time high. So we're not going to stand back and keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. It's time to do something different. Join the movement and make sure y'all stay in touch and in tune with Martin G. Johnson, because he is going to be our official videographer as this movement rises up, leading to spring. Once it gets warm, we're going to really rise up. So let's organize through the cold. Let's fight this cold out. By spring, we're going to be in the streets. Heavy.